Crumpy! You're muted.
It just took a second for Rumble, StreamYard to unmute me, but you guys miss me?
I miss you.
I am back. We are back on Rumble after a month. I've been dealing with some family stuff, and then last week I survived a couple tornadoes in South Dakota, which was kind of interesting. But we are back live, and today we are also live on YouTube on John Crump News because I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple different things. And since I haven't done a show in a week, we are. The first thing I want to talk about is the different NFA challenges that are going on out there. There are a few different NFA challenges, one by Gun Owners of America, and FRAC. FRAC is the Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition, and everyone knows what GOA is. The other one is from Second Amendment Foundation and FEC, along with the American Suppressor Association. They both challenge.
I'm going to start an organization called Firearms Rights Cool Kids and call it FRIC and see if I can partner with FRAC.
All right. Well, they are challenging the constitutionality of the NFA because the NFA, if you don't know, is a tax law.
On a right.
On a right, which there shouldn't be a direct tax on a right anyway, according to Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, which was an 1850s case dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses going door to door, handing out pamphlets. They tried to say that he needed a permit to do that, which is a no-no. The Supreme Court said you can't put a direct tax on a rate, but yet we have the NFA. Now let's go ahead and talk about why we can challenge the NFA. We can talk about what Democrats were trying to do and everything else. So, NFA, right? NFA is a tax. A tax, by law, has to have a revenue-generating purpose. What is the tax on SBRs, SBSs, and suppressors right now?
Well, it's proposed January 1st, 2026 to be $0.
$0. Can a $0 tax raise revenue?
No.
Is there any revenue raising generating purpose for a $0 tax?
No.
My audio's static.
You glitched a couple of times. It seems like when you got loud.
Okay. Oh, I'll let this back here. Okay. So here is the thing, right? So since there is no revenue generating purpose to the NFA, and for at least for suppressors and everything else like that, it might not be kosher. That means that through the court system, we may be able to take down part of the NFA. Not all of the NFA, because there's still destructive devices and machine guns still have that pesky $200 tax.
Well, thank you, parliamentarian, and thank you, no balls people that are rhinos.
Yeah, but because of that, we might be able to whatever. We might be able to get rid of the NFA. Well, I think both sides are going to try as a whole, but I don't know if that's going to work. Now, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and talk about who predicted that there is going to be a challenge and there's going to be a huge challenge. You know who did that?
You?
No. Well, yeah, but a lot of people did. But Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy is a senator from Connecticut that happens to be a Democrat. during the whole reconciliation process, he
Anyway.
begged and pleaded for a $1 tax. A $1 tax. Do you know why he begged and pleaded for a $1 tax?
Because then it's revenue generating.
Then it's revenue generating. He also tried to raise it to $3,709.
I thought it was $4,700, but
it's something, whatever.
Basically, the 2025 adjusted amount of $200.
But it didn't go through. Now, here's the thing. This should be an open and shut case. This should be an open and shut case because the law is clear on this. A tax has to be revenue generating. And this 100% is not revenue generating. So by law, this should be out of here, right? There should be no question about it. I am worried a little bit because we have seen where anti-gun advocate judges get a hold of a case and they say blah blah blah. Now, being on the offensive on this case, choosing where to file, and I think both sides filed in the correct places, I think that gives us a better chance. If like the Democrats filed, they would probably file in New York. Okay, now we got to talk about a couple elephants in the room. One elephant in the room is no nationwide injunctions, which I said will probably come back and bite us in the ass sometime. And it might. But what will happen is that if they roll for GOA, SAF, BRAC, whoever, if you are a member of any of those organizations and they win, you will be covered because technically you are a named plaintiff.
Which is what are the terms for it's de jure and de facto, and I forget which is which when one country recognizes another country. That's kind of a de facto a nationwide injunction because GOA or fill in the blank organization is nationwide.
Well, it's nationwide.
And then the secondary effect of that is, how do you enforce it? It's because it's kind of like a speeding law, but you can't pull over GOA members.
But you don't know who the GOA members are or who the SAF members are.
Right. So it's a pseudo nationwide injunction.
The pseudo nationwide injunction because there's no way to enforce it because none of the organizations have to turn over the membership rolls to the federal government. So it's basically on the honor system. So basically all you're going to say is, hey, on the honor system, I'm a GOA member or I'm an SAF member. Or if they even ask you, are you a GOA member or SAF member? Remember, we have Fifth Amendment protections. You can just say,
plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to tell you. So if you arrest me, you might be doing a false arrest. Maybe not. But you want to take that chance? It's up to you, Mr. Officer. Because you're going to have to prove that I'm not a member of those organizations, and you're not going to be able to do that. So that's one of the cool things. There's also an affidavit that I'm involved in one of the cases that says that I would like to 3D print suppressors without serializing them or filling out Form 1. So that's my little thrown in there. So I think the mission and the method is right. One of the other things that I that a lot of people are asking is, why didn't all these organizations team up and sue together?
I mean, they have on certain issues.
Yeah, but why didn't they team up and sue on this one? And I like the fact that there's 2 different lawsuits. Because not all your eggs are in one basket. So that's a good thing. So you have 2 bites of the apple instead of one.
So, and let me just game this a little bit. As a Joe citizen, it's good to be a member of multiple organizations because let's say you're a member of, GOA, SAF, and FRAC. If one wins, you win. If 2 wins, you win. It's a win all the way around. And I'll be hanging out with Jordan this week, but you won't.
I will be riding doom buggies and jet skis.
Mm-hmm. Neither of which I've done, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Been doing a little bit of diving.
Oh, have we talked about diving? I didn't know you dove.
Yeah, I haven't dove in a while, but
I haven't dove in a while either.
Yeah, I used to
other than staying at crappy places in Vegas, that would be a dive.
I used to dive a lot, but not anymore. But yeah, so getting back to the NFA thing, right? This is the strategy is multiple lawsuits, you get multiple bites at the apple, and yeah, so it should be pretty cool. And I like the strategy. I like the chances, and this is the closest that we have had to shutting down at least part of the NFA, if not all of the NFA, because the judge can just, just say, "Hey," because both sides are challenging the whole entire NFA. Because the way the way court cases work, you say, the whole entire thing's invalid. But if you don't agree with us that the whole entire thing is valid, at least you can agree this part is invalid.
It's kind of like asking, can I have $1 million? If I can't have $1 million, can I have 750K? If I can't have 750K, can I have 500K? If I can't have 500K, can I have 250K? And yeah, that's how cases are typically written. So basically, the judge would have to say no like 4 times.
Yeah. So I like the strategy here, and I believe that at least part of it is going to be shut down. Now we got to get it done fast before the next presidential election,
or before the midterm elections come by, and historically, Congress flips and they start impeaching Trump over and over again.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So we have to go ahead and do that. So we are close, guys. We just have to wait a little bit longer. And whatever. You got to also remember that a judge in like an injunction cannot be nationwide. But if the law is vacated through a motion for summary judgment, then it can be.
Oh, wow. All right, so the NFA is a law, unlike all of the BS rules by the ATF. And so the good thing about a law is that if it's taken away, they're not likely that the Democrats are going to work their tail off to get it back.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, they could, but they're going to have a super majority to get it back.
Whereas if it's an ATF rule, the next administration can come in and say, "Hey, this is how it's going."
Fine, you have some nice tools. What's your address again?
Yeah, that's Frag Out Shop. So you go mess with him in Texas.
Yeah, and Polar Nights, I would not mess with anyone in Texas. Usually a bad idea.
Or Florida.
Unless they're going to have an enhanced trigger, then they're not going to have it. But let's. All right. So basically, that is it for the NFA challenges. I just wanted to talk about those a little bit, and let's go ahead and talk about the SIG Fallout.
The radioactive fallout.
Yeah. The SIG Fallout, because it looks like police departments around
IDPA, whatever it was.
are dropping SIG again.
Well, I wouldn't drop it. I mean, that might be a bad idea.
Bloomington, Indiana. What is it? Bloomington, Indiana. They announced that they are going back to. Do you hear that?
Yes.
What is that?
I don't know. Is it some sort of iPhone, Apple notification of some kind?
No.
Because I don't have an iPhone. I just have a Mac.
Bloomington, Indiana. They are going back to Glocks.
Maybe Hulk Hogan can help you change your battery on your smoke detector.
Yeah. So Bloomington, Indiana, going back to Glocks. They're dropping SIGs. There was a SIG request a reversal of ban on the Washington Training Center, because the Washington Training Center in Washington State banned SIG 320s. SIG tried to sue to get that ban reversed, and the judge denied the request to reverse the ban. Now the Air Force is now doing a service-wide inspections of the M18 pistols.
So here's the problem. Anytime there's a lawsuit, and the first time I've heard this was Mark Levin. It's like, sue me now, because then he gets to do discovery. So if you're talking crap, like, so SIG suing, whatever police department, or doesn't matter who, an agency that says, yeah, we're not using them, they're too damn dangerous. Now, if they have a smart lawyer, the lawyer's going to be like, fine, we're doing discovery. Let's see all of your internal documents on testing, anything having to do with any of this, and the decisions, of the documentation of the prior lawsuits he settled out of court. Let's open up that. That'll.
There is another lawsuit. Okay. That is just dropping. And that is an ICE agent, an ICE officer suing SIG.
That wasn't the guy with the 10mm Glock, was it?
What they claim. No. Yeah, so there was an ICE agent whose gun fired. Who fired accidentally during a training exercise. He's claiming that he did not pull the trigger. SIG is saying that it had to be pulled. So SIG is being sued here. Let me just, I got to just close something down. Sorry, guys.
It just seems, what they say in politics is, the cover-up is worse than the crime. And here, it just seems like SIG has been allegedly, do I need to say, lying so long that, they're just going to stick with it.
All right. I do want to kind of play devil's advocate here a little bit. So don't get mad at me if you guys don't like SIG, but I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. And first thing I want to do is close this. Just give me 1 second here.
I have a 365. They talk about a shake awake feature on the 365.
I'll be right back, guys.
So that could be an issue. I haven't had that issue. Dark has sent me videos where somebody's demonstrating it. I'm going to take my chances on it. The 320. I just think, personally, I'd love to hold up a Glock and show you the Glock FCU and then the SIG FCU. The Glock FCU is stupid simple, whereas the SIG FCU is pretty complex. And if it just seems to me that if you get tolerance stacking on a complex FCU, whether it's through wear or whether it's through parts being within tolerance, but within that margin, and then all of the tolerances stack up to cause a malfunction, that could be an issue. And that's why just in aviation, we build things stupid simple. And when I say we, I'm a pilot, but aircraft are typically built so stupid simple with so few moving parts, there's less stuff to break, less issues of tolerance stacking. And that's where if you ever saw the 320 FCU, you're like, wow, that's a complex piece of kit. Just looking at the comments here, and yep, yeah. So you guys are Scott Peterson's talking about tolerance stacking. Guy actual, moving parts. The more parts you have, there's a bunch of issues, especially even if it's just wear, that can come. People have been demonstrating it in videos. So SIG has had a very good reputation for an extremely long period of time. Even the 365 started out with issues, and they, after the initial launch issues, they came back out of that and they built a good product. So I haven't seen the amount of 320 issues with the 365.
Yeah, I want to play devil's advocate here for a second. Let me just fix something quick here. Sorry, fixing stuff on the fly. I know. My devil's advocate motion is everyone knows about the Ford Pinto.
Oh, sure. And was it NBC that doctored the video?
Yeah. So NBC doctored the video, and I'm not saying that's what's happening here. I'm just saying that everyone assumed that the Ford Pinto was bad, but it turned out, and this is not like a conspiracy theory because it was proven that NBC doctored the video.
Well, I think they had a flare, and they did something so the tank would puncture and a flare would ignite the fuel and show that a rear end collision, for the dramatic video. So they rigged it. It's not, we're in the AI generation. This is, in the 80s, I assume, early 80s, if I recall. And the issue with the Ford Pinto was the gas tank was behind the rear axle as opposed to in front of the rear axle. And Ford made a conscious financial decision on that because it would have cost more to move the gas tank ahead of the rear axle, which would have got it more protection.
Yeah, but the whole thing was that it wasn't as dangerous as it seemed. And Ford actually sued NBC and won.
Yeah, NBC has a history. I mean, going back to the 80s of doctoring things. And who was the, oh gosh, we're talking about it. Who was the not security guard, but like community watch guy that ended up was it Trayvon Martin? George Zimmerman. So the NBC doctored Zimmerman's 911 call to make it look like he was racist and said it was a black guy, whereas the 911 operator asked him, what did the guy look like? Was he Caucasian? Was he black? Was he this? Was he that? And he said, yeah, he was a black guy. And so they cut it to make it seem like he's a racist. And let's see, that's NBC. CBS is 60 Minutes, which just paid out to Trump for misleading.
Yeah. Then you have the Katie Couric thing where they edited the deceptive misediting of some anti-guns of some gun stuff.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't that the VA?
Yeah. VCDL
VCDL.
made them look like they had no answers.
And so the VCDL, I mean, those guys, I get chills. Those guys are legends. Those guys.
But let's get back to the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is we don't have all the information. Now there was a guy on YouTube. Who was it? Gunworks, Indiana Gunwork, who did the with the screw. And
Yes.
Now I tried that on my P320, and I was able to replicate it. I tried it on my Glocks and a Stoger, a High Point, believe it or not, in Smith and Wesson, and a couple HKs, and also like a dagger, like a 80% arms, and a P80.
Mm-hmm.
I was not able to get it to do it on anything but the SIG. Now, am I going to say that? What's up, Braden? Now, am I going to say that that is a sign that there's something wrong with it? No, because I don't know enough. Maybe it's just the SIG I have, and like the other guns are capable of doing that themselves, but for some reason I couldn't get it to do it. I own a very nice High Point that was from a police evidence logger, by the way, Brian. It's painted red with like acrylic paint. It's weird.
Oh yeah, that one. I thought they were talking about me and my High Point. I actually haven't shot the 10 mil pistol yet.
Now here's the interesting thing though. I replaced the slide with a Patmos slide. I couldn't replicate it with the Patmos slide on there.
On the 320.
On the 320, only with the 6
Oh, interesting.
which I don't know what that means. Like, I'm not going to claim to have enough.
Yeah, you have a study of one. You don't have thousands for a case study. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a case study, and
so
I'm not really sure how valid that test is because you are sticking something in the trigger.
Did you put a wedge in the trigger, or did you really put a sheetrock screw in your guns?
It was a piece of plastic.
Okay, all right. Because I'm like, all right, some of my nicer guns, I would feel bad about.
It was basic. It was part of a filament.
Okay.
So, like, do I know that there's actually a problem? I do not know, but there is a lot of smoke. There is a lot of smoke, which usually indicates fire. But I don't know. Either way, I think SIG might not be handling this the correct way.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in them. You know, here is a company. You know, when you talk about brand identity, you know, John Crump has a brand identity. Gideon Optics has a brand identity. Everybody, Langley Outdoors has a brand identity.
Oh, Langley definitely does.
And when these things, you know, when something happens that isn't, you know, in alignment with your brand identity, that's devastating. And actually, that's a quote from Dan Bongino. Why can't I talk today? Dan Bongino made that quote. So when you have something that changes your opinion or known opinion of somebody or something, that's a problem. And a couple of things about that. First off, SIG is a premium firearm manufacturer. It's not an Anderson. It's not fill in the blank. And I would be shocked if Kiger by Anderson did this because, well, it's Glock based. So they're doing a lot of damage to their brand on multiple different levels. And I guess the dollar was more important, and just the circumstantial evidence of SIG settling out of court is doing their own pirate software.
Stop playing games. You probably have no idea. If you know, you know. Right, Ron? Stop killing games. It's a he used to work for Blizzard, guys. It's always something geeky that you. But okay, let me say this. I think their response isn't for the public. It's not to reassure the public.
You think it's stockholders?
I think it's government contracts. I think it's 100% government contracts. And I think it's coming from the lawyers, and it's to set up lawsuits in case the government contracts get cut. I mean, that's just a guess, my surmising.
Yeah, and here's the whole thing. So Colt 1927 says Hickok did a review and didn't have any issues. But again, unless you have a study size of 1,000 devices and go through it, your personal experience isn't necessarily valid to the group. It's valid for that individual.
Yeah. Well, now, would I say, hey, you should carry a SIG? Absolutely not, because there's one.
Well, and the question is, like, I've had a 365 and I've used the 365 and I'm happy with it. Would I look to buy another product from SIG? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, like a sample size of one, even a sample size of 3 is...
It's still small.
It's small.
And so here's the thing. I don't know Hickok 45. I'm not going to say I know Tim from Military Arms Channel, but I do like what Tim does. Tim does not, like I'll get a gun from a manufacturer and they'll send me a gun. And, so they may hand pick what they send me. Whereas what Tim is doing at Military Arms Channel, they're sending him a gun and they're not sending him a gun. He's pulling a gun from his gun shop to see how good or bad or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I do give him a lot of credit for that, because that's the more expensive way to go.
Okay, now I'm going to jump into the engineer in me, because by trade I am an engineer.
Software.
I'm not a software engineer.
Network.
One of them, yeah, but I do have a degree in engineering. Let's think about it this way. Let's say that some type of carbon buildup that happens that causes the perfect storm that causes like the gun to go off. Right?
That's a problem.
That's a problem, but here's the thing. Now, let's say the carbon buildup causes the gun to discharge. What's going to happen to the carbon buildup when the gun discharges?
Might blow out.
Might blow out. So it wouldn't be repeatable. I'm just talking off the cuff here. Go ahead, read it, Rich.
And Braden says, Rich just nailed the problem. If all of these videos are based on partial info or incorrect info, that is direct brand damage to incorrect information. I have no dog in the fight. It's a problem.
Yeah.
And
What if speculation is wrong? Yeah, but that 100%.
yeah,
That could be the case. I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
and here's the thing, we don't. When ammo was like stupid expensive, I had a gun I ran like 110 rounds through for a range test I was going to do a video on. And then I had a bunch of failure to extracts. And I'm like, I sent it back. And I'm like, they're like, we'll send you a new one. I'm like, I don't want a new one. I can't afford. I make so little doing these videos. I don't want another gun. I'm not going to do another video. It's not worth the time.
Yeah. Okay. Scott Peterson wants to know about the slide. The Patmos slide. I should have brought this up. I forgot to bring this up. Thank you for reminding me. The Patmos slide was a tighter fit than the SIG slide. There was a hell of a lot less play, and if we were on Rumble only, I would show you, but we're not. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot less play in the Patmos slide, and I could not replicate it with the Patmos slide. But another thing I think is happening, I think a lot of people are, I want to say, overconfident in their gun skills.
But a lot of us, we have an experience and we're like, oh, that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need a wide study before you say definitively.
Yes.
Would I carry one right now? I would not.
There's so many other good options.
I would not carry one. Am I going to say there's definitely something wrong with it? I'm not going to say there's definitely something wrong with it. Once the Air Force report comes out and the FBI report gets released totally, I think that's going to shed a lot of light on it, because they're going, the Army, because the Army is taking part in the Air Force one. I think there's going to be a lot more evidence, because they're going to put it through its workings. And you got to remember, what is one factor that you can add to any experience to any experiment to F it up?
Well, either a small sample size or just randomness.
Humans. So you got to put it in some type of machine. Yeah, everyone's saying humans. So you got to put it in some type of machine.
Wow, I missed that one. Everybody except me.
Well, here's the thing. I did an experiment one time where I took an oil that's supposed to improve accuracy, and I had a bunch of people fire a gun. It was like, okay, we're going to put this accuracy oil on there, fire it again. And everyone was like, wow, look how, everyone shot better with it. And then I took a mechanical stand that had no human interaction. The triggers pulled and everything via hydraulics. And you know what that showed?
No difference.
No difference. But everyone that shot it with accuracy oil, it was better. I did that probably 6 or 7 years ago. So by just telling people you're going to shoot better, people shot better. So yep. Oh, yep. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be tested for out of spec. In fact, I live in Loudoun County, Virginia, and there was an officer who claims that her 320 went off in the holster, and now she's disabled.
Oh shoot! I mean, there was a video of like 4 cops standing around, and the SIG just went off.
Yeah. It was an actual product called accuracy oil. Look it up. The dude was pissed when I said, he was like, "Did you use humans?" I was like, "Yeah," but then I also used a machine, and he was not happy. He was like, "But you removed the humans." I'm like, "Yes, I did."
That's called testing. Yeah.
That is to get actual results. But, I don't know. But all I'm saying is that I do not feel comfortable carrying my 320 right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But I cannot say 100% definitely that there's an issue with it.
Right. But again, there are so many good options out there. Why would you go for that?
Yeah.
In that price range, if you're looking, and again, there's 10mm 320s, right?
Is there? I think so.
I think there is. The X10.
Yeah. Like you have the HK. If you don't want to carry a Glock, I carry a Glock 43X. If you don't want to carry a Glock, Jordan Vinra, who actually owns Patmos Slides, whose tolerances are actually better than SIG's. Like if you don't want to carry a Glock 43X is proven. Glock 19 is proven. Glock 26 is proven. The HK CC9 is a very nice gun. HK VP9 is a very nice gun.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
I don't have a CC9. I want a CC9. My VP9. I love my VP9.
Yeah,
What do you think happened to SIG? Do you think they're going to get pulled off the market?
The 320, at least, I think so. They need to, do the opposite of Bud Light and say, hey, let's offer anybody that has a question about their 320 a no questions trade in on fill in the blank, another gun or something like that from their products.
P250.
P250, whatever. Yeah.
Hammer fire, because 320 is based on the P250.
Well, I mean, but the P250 there, to my knowledge, doesn't have any of these issues.
Yeah, well, the P250 is hammer fire.
Right.
What they did is with the 320, they took the 250 and they modified it to be striker fire, which might actually lead to some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's not a best of breed situation.
Yeah. Oh, the Oklahoma Attorney General issued a public warning about the 320.
Wow.
Yeah, 365, I don't think suffers from the same perceived problem. But there's people out there that are on both sides of the issue, where they either are convinced that they're 100% convinced, and no question, you cannot deny that there's a problem. And then you have other people that are 100%, you cannot deny that there's not a problem. You got to remember, this isn't the first time that the 320 had issues either. Hey, Fargout, I finally picked up my guns. So, thank you.
Finally?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's been a while.
Yeah. I've been traveling a lot. So, yeah. There's two camps, and I think the camp in the middle is probably where everyone should be, where it's like, all right, until we figure out what the hell's going on, I'm not going to carry my 320. But I'm not going to say 100% that it's at fault. But the 320 did have an original problem that they had to offer a voluntary upgrade to, which I think should have been a recall. And that was with the trigger. I don't know. The 320 is a cursed gun.
I don't think it had good DNA.
No, I don't think so, too. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's a lot of companies piling on SIG right now.
I think the best was Kyle Wade at Anderson when he did the week. I think Monday they dropped It Ends Today, and then Kyle did It Begins Today because there was a sale at Anderson. Like there was a weekend sale at Anderson. And
Yeah.
of course, my buddies at Fat Tack, they came out with a T-shirt that said "It NDs today."
Yeah. That was like actually one of the titles of one of my videos like back in the day, so I think I'm gonna sue him for copyright infringement. I'm joking. Yeah, so wow, Barton Fink stole it from the wrong factory. One of the things I do think like kind of like did something really negative to SIG is when they changed their manual to a warning that
To Israeli carry.
yeah. What's up, Dark?
What's up, fellas? How's it
Homeboy,
going?
how are the new brakes?
I can't get them to work. I don't know what's going on. Oh, hold on. Dang it. I knew this was going to be an issue. Hold, please. Okay, I'm going to change lanes now. Good luck, everybody else. Okay, sorry. So, a couple things. Oh, man. It's such a difficult place to start, but let's just start at something that won't get anyone sued for slander, libel, or torturous interference. I'll say this. If any gun out there at all, oh, you still got me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If any gun out there at all in the entire industry started to have these allegations, float around the industry between civilians, law enforcement, military, whatever, and to the tune of 120 people that were reportedly having these issues. I'm not saying they're all concrete because there are humans involved, right? There are people that lie. There are people that, are trying to take advantage, whatever.
I don't think they're all concrete. I think no one is claiming that every single one of them is concrete.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's also intellectually dishonest to ignore this and say that, oh, there's no way there's an issue because wood screws or because whatever, right? I think it makes sense to say, yeah, and sorry, I'm not in the studio and I'm in my car, but it makes sense to say, you know what? Because there are now more than 120 people that are reportedly have experienced a catastrophic mechanical failure resulting in a discharge, because I refuse to call it a UD. That's dumb. Or people that have been shot by the firearm discharging, people that have been killed by the firearm discharging, what have you, to the tune of, let's say over 100. I
Thanks,
think
Tim.
it's pretty wise to say, you know what, the consequences, if this does hold if there's any truth to it at all, the consequences are not worth. It's just not worth the risk. So I'm gonna shelve the 320 for now. I think that's fair and reasonable. And for me personally, uh, I want to say that either me or Crump or Rich or anyone is telling anyone what to do, or companies to patronize or not patronize, or to buy stuff or use stuff or do or don't, whatever. Come to your own conclusion. But what I'm saying is, it's gotten to the point where it can't really be ignored, and the consequences are grievous bodily harm or death. So, yeah, it'd be pretty foolish to,
Well, I want to back up here a little bit. I like how you said UD. I like how you said that. I mean, it's an ND, whether it's on the company or the person. There was an ND involved. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what you had said. I think that's
yeah.
a
I
good
think I
point.
said that when I was talking to you before.
Yeah.
But, I also think that if they did do what you're going to think they did, I think that would put them out of business. Because if they pulled them, the majority of their money is made through the M18 contract.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sorry. So what I mean is, for civilians, for people out there that can make the decision on what firearm to carry, not agency issued or whatever. Like, I mean, so for me as an individual, and I'm sorry, that was the other side of what I was going to say. I just got distracted driving. As a civilian that can choose what I want to, carry or not, I have two SIG 320s. I have a SIG 556 SWAT SPR. I think it's like $2,500. I have a SIG 716 tread. I have a SIG 239 or whatever. I have a bunch of SIGs. I honestly think SIG is, for the most part, a great company prior to all this stuff occurring. Um, so, I mean, the individual, I think it's a reasonable thing for the individual to say, you know what, I'm not going to carry my SIG 320 because there's a possibility that I could murder somebody or myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to the individual, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're convinced that there's not an issue, then there's that. If you're convinced that there's an
Yeah.
issue, there's that.
Yeah, just make your own decision. I'm just saying that I understand why people are, why some people are making that decision, because it makes sense. It's like the same example that I'd given when we were talking about this on my channel, which is DLD After Dark. Go check it out. But I was like, hey, if Glock has a proven track record of, you know, um, reliability and success with their generations 1 through 5, if they came out with a sixth generation and more than 100 people, 120 people came out saying that the gun dropped, went off, discharged in the holster, discharged on its own, whatever, and this happened more than 100 times, and the company was paying out millions and millions and millions of dollars, interestingly enough, right before it went to discovery. Yeah, I'd be like, you know what, I'm probably not going to carry a Gen 6 Glock. I'm probably going to go to something that is proven, because the consequence is so great, it's just not worth it.
All right. So Scott says SIG should know what the issue is. It's a matter of what the remedy is going to cost. And I'm not convinced that they know what the issue is.
I think they know exactly what it is. If my simple, smooth brain behind can identify the issue, I know they can. The issue is the fact that they have a massive, fully cocked striker spring that's a cylindrical 22 layer spring that
22
has
windings.
22 windings that has a little, used to be made out of stamped metal. Now it's made out of military MIM,
MIM.
metal injection molding material. It's a little dog leg on the side that's oddly enough attached to the striker, whatever you call the complete, striker, whatchamacallit, the combination of parts.
Fire control unit.
No, it's whatever, just the striker assembly. Sorry, words are hard. So that's on a little 2-coil butterfly spring that has to catch up with this fully cocked cylindrical striker spring. Like that's 99 probably going to catch it just fine. But then you have the possibility of tolerance issues, tolerance stacking with other parts. You have wear and tear, you have damage or impact or whatever. You have carbon fouling, you have all of these things that could potentially change the inner workings of the firearm. Yeah, I mean, for sure you could absolutely get some issues, and there's no trigger blade safety, and there's no large piece of cylindrical steel blocking the striker like there is on most of the other popular firearms out there that are striker fired. So it's because it looks like someone took the hammer fire design and said, man, sure would be great if this could qualify for the modular striker fired polymer handgun contract for the military. That's what I think. So they retrofitted it to fit a striker. I gotta jump in here real quick. I'll be right back. And I don't want to click end, so I'll be right back.
Well, we'll probably be gone by the time we get back.
Gonna pull them out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see what it's saying, but we are going to see what is going on here. But whatever, it's just not good for SIG. But I think with that, we're gonna go ahead and end it right here. Thank you guys for joining in, and we're gonna get out of here. Thanks, Rich, for coming on. We will be doing this regularly. Next week I'll be off though. So
what about the rest of this week? Because I got GOA goals.
No, well, you'll be gone. I'll be doing stuff.
All right. All right. So back in 2 weeks.
Back in 2 weeks. If you don't know, my wife had surgery, so I will. Last month was kind of
surgery to make John more tolerable.
Yeah, last month was kind of taking care of her, and then I had to travel for my day job to South Dakota, and on vacation next week. So, but we're back, and we're loving it like McDonald's, I guess. And I'll see you guys later.